Hi, welcome to Geek Talk. It's me and Josh. We're back. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a new year, new crazy.
A lot of crazy stuff happened this past semester.
Serious. It's been a long semester. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yep.
I figured you may bail or something.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. You still look like Flash to me, so yeah, like creeping me out, moving from universe to universe.
We never know.
Never know. Could be a guess. All right, so we got a couple things to talk about today. I got a special purple card from my producer. So we both went and saw a movie. Unfortunately, we didn't see the same one.
Yep.
You saw Aquaman. I saw Spider-Verse.
Yep.
What do you think about Aquaman?
No
spoilers.
Aquaman was good. Was probably my second favorite DCEU movie. A lot of people would disagree with me, but Batman vs. Superman was my favorite personally, even though it received a lot of hate. It was
released a lot of
it was one
Set
of my
free
favorite
the Kraken.
ones. But Aquaman was really good. The colors were like amazing. It was like Black Panther, but in the DCEU. Okay. And the plot you could say was loosely based on Black Panther's plot. Loosely, I say, because it changes a lot, but if I were to explain to him the plot right now, it was pretty much like Black Panther's. But it was
there's a king, he doesn't want to be king, but they need him to come back, or there's going to be a big war, and then his brother Orm is trying to take over, and Orm hates surface dwellers, and he hates him because he's half surface dweller.
Yep, that's exactly pretty much it, with a whole bunch of extra stuff in there.
Yeah, because that's pretty much the origin of Aquaman. So.
Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it a lot. It was very just colorful. The bright colors of the sea and everything. It was just a different take on a superhero movie, and I really enjoyed it.
I heard it compared to Star Wars as far as like the sort of energy that it brings.
Like I don't remember the planet, but there's a certain planet in Star Wars where it's just everything's like bright green and bright blue, and I think it's Felucia or something along those lines. But it was very bright colors, and it's very intriguing to the eye.
So all you Star Wars fans that watch this, tell him what he said was wrong, just so we, I don't know.
Yeah. And, so about Spider-Verse?
Spider-Verse was amazing, and you know, I really sit back and think about, see, I've known all these characters, that the Spider-Verse is a way to kind of make multiple Spider-Men, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to give any spoilers either because you haven't seen it, but it's animated, but it's not that classic sort of Pixar animation kind of thing. There's a real comic book feel to it where there's word bubbles and there's multiple panels on the screen at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I think stylistically it had a lot of real interesting kind of points. And I was never a big fan of Miles Morales because it always felt very forced to make, you know, a multicultural Spider-Man. But I think they handled it really well. How he didn't really, you know, he was just learning to be Spider-Man, so that was cool. And there was a catch to it that I didn't expect, but it made it interesting. So I would say of the Marvel movies that I've seen so far this year, it's the best.
This year so far?
Well, yeah, it is the fourth. I mean, you know,
Sure.
No, it was really amazing. I was really impressed, and it held my kids' attention, which is, you know, a great thing.
That's good.
So by next one, you have to see Spider-Verse, and I have to see Aquaman, so we can argue those points.
I saw Bumblebee, but let's not talk about that.
Oh, what was that? Was it not good?
It wasn't. I was very much hoping it was going to be the best one, because in the trailer you saw the Transformers and they looked like the animated series Transformers.
Yeah.
Which got me really excited.
You had Soundwave, the guy with the cassette player.
Exactly. Soundwave. He launched out the cat. I forgot his name.
I don't remember the cat. I don't remember the name.
He has all the other ones. They don't come out in the movie, but the characters look like the animated series characters, which is beautiful because that's what all the Transformers fans want. They want them to look like their original selves, not just some robots with colors.
Yeah, and ultra little details. I mean, they were too.
They lack so many details that would make them Transformers, and the movie did that in the beginning, but then it just ended up being like your Michael Bay film. It's regular explosions, not much story or too much story, and not much Autobots, and that was my issue with it. It was just a basic story. The villains weren't even important. They were just two Decepticons coming to fight Bumblebee. That's it. two random Decepticons. They weren't really that important.
Okay, so it wasn't like Starscream?
It wasn't Starscream, and the one in the beginning, that wasn't Starscream either. So
okay.
it
Well,
was,
I might see it just so that I stay current on it, but you know, I was excited to see that he was a Volkswagen Bug again, because I mean that's kind of where the name came from and the concept.
Yeah, and the movie was good. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the best of the Transformers, and it by far
wasn't the best of the Transformers. That's a low bar to be swinging at, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't the best. The first one was my favorite still.
Okay, well, the first one was probably the most sort of encompassing.
And this one is the close second. They're really close, but the first one was still better. The other ones are irrelevant because that fourth one is one of the worst high budget movies I've ever seen.
See, I was really hoping with the Bumblebee that they would, it would be, since they were centering on so much on just one character as the primary, that it would really relaunch that whole kind of idea. And
that's what many people were hoping, that was going to be a light reboot, but it wasn't. It was, there's now like continuity errors and it's now a mess. They just need to reset it all and then make the Transformers look how they looked in the beginning of the movie.
Well, you know, this year we're getting I think it's either this year or next year, we're getting another G.I. Joe movie.
I don't know about that. Hopefully they reset it because the last one wasn't even that good.
I think it is supposed to be I think it's going to be a soft reset.
Because they
who are they going to get to play in it? Because they've got they've used all the big action stars that would be in it.
Yeah, and it's like they had a good cast too. They had for the main character, Channing Tatum. He was perfect for that role.
But then he bailed out on the second one.
He bailed out. That's why.
Well, he was only in the beginning for a little bit.
Oh yeah, they killed off a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, because there was time errors for filming other things he was involved in, and that's why they did that. Is they kind of killed him off so that he could be free and go do other stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just that. Okay, so Miss Marvel's coming. Have you seen the previews?
I've seen all of them.
I'm very interested in how they handle this. I mean,
they're not releasing too much, but they're releasing a good amount.
They're releasing enough that I know that it's not the same story as the comic book origins. The comic book origins, she was basically just a human that got superpowers. In this, there's this whole memory wipe and turn around coming back to Earth and learning what it means to be human and everything else. Yeah. But I have heard that they are going to, like the Novus, there was one point where she became this star energy creature where she's able to direct a lot of power, where she isn't just super strong and flies around and punches things, and that she actually does that in the movie. She actually does the big energy thing. So that'd be interesting. What about the TV shows? You been keeping up?
Not really. I've stopped watching The Flash. I've watched it every once in a while. It's just the last season was really bad. I didn't like it that much.
Oh, with the Thinker guy?
Thinker. It was just so slow, and then it was like every episode, Flash would befriend a metahuman.
And then they get killed, yeah.
They get killed, and he like absorbs them. Which, I mean, it was interesting, but it was just a repeat cycle, and it wasn't as good as the Zoom and Savitar. Even though Savitar was kind of iffy, Zoom season was very good. So,
well, I have to say this season I've been pretty impressed with The Flash.
And I've seen a little bit. I've been keeping up with how the story is going. I just haven't been watching the episodes.
Yeah, they brought his daughter from the future.
They brought Nora.
Yeah, Nora from the future, and she's excess. And what's cool is, and I don't know if really they've made it very clear, because she's a Legionnaire. So she has a Legion ring. But now in Supergirl, they've got Brainiac and the Legion of Superheroes that have come back. So they're on alternate worlds. I'm wondering that with this Crisis thing that they're doing right now, which in the comics was how DC combined all their universes together, that's what they're leaning to, is that at some point they're going to bring all three of those shows into the same universe. Because, Arrow's got to be spiraling down.
Well, the thing is, I've heard that Arrow, these past two have been really bad, but this one has been picking up really good.
Well, this season's been really good.
And I think last season, I think it was the episode on the island was one of the best episodes in the show.
But they've greenlit Batwoman. So I know that they've at least done the pilot for Batwoman, which uses I can never remember anybody's name. It's but I saw her in the Crisis crossover where they have where they go to the world they go to this new world, and they all know Batman. They talk about Batman. I mean, Supergirl talks about that her cousin and Batman are friends. But then Arrow and Flash both, like Flash is like, Batman's real, Batman's real. Arrow's like, no, he's not, no, he's not. And so there's this sort of, he exists in both worlds. So I think that what we're seeing is sort of a soft merging of the worlds, which might be interesting. I mean, it might bring an end to the Legends, which wouldn't hurt my feelings. They've kind of gotten silly.
Yeah, Legends, I watched a little bit, but it was just the stories. It was like Doctor Who, but with superheroes. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that's a good comparison. That's
and it's
a
like
really
Doctor
good
Who was good too. I stopped watching it, but it was good. And it was like, but you can only get so much of it, of them going back in time, going into history. It just gets cheesy at times, in my opinion.
Doctor Who is meant to be cheesy. I mean, it's dangerous to even say that, because it's like chocolate is chocolatey. I mean Doctor Who is cheesy.
It's true.
I mean, but I've honestly, I think I'm 4 episodes in to the new Doctor Who, and because for some reason I couldn't find it on demand, and then suddenly it's like I got the whole season on demand. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And so I started binge watching it. Like last weekend, I think I watched like 4 or 5 episodes, and honestly, she's gonna be one of my favorite doctors. I think just from the way she, doctors can be. I mean, the best doctors have seemed to know what's going on and yet sort of bumbling along, and she's pretty much on task. So, I would. But so if you haven't seen it, that's one thing I would do. I would tell you, check out the new Doctor Who. I know a lot of people are upset. Oh, it's a woman, it's a woman, it's a woman. Hey, I'm not picky. A good doctor's a good doctor. So I'd go with that. Flash is, I would say, better this season. I really like the direction.
Yeah, by the episodes I've been watching, it looks really good. It was just last season, I kept up with it. I watched it every night, and it was just, I was disappointed. And it's like...
Yeah, the Thinker is,
I think, a good villain for the Flash, but it's just the way they presented him in the show, I think just wasn't set up well.
Yeah, I think it would have been more interesting if he wasn't stealing superpowers, because that's sort of...
Because then he becomes an almighty being, and he has all these powers, and Flash was still able to beat him. But then it's like he fights other villains, and he's like struggling, but he beat a guy who has 8 different powers that make him crazy powerful.
Thanos with the gauntlet, he could have took out the Avengers with a wave of his hand.
True.
He's in there wrestling them. I don't understand that. I mean, when he beat up the Hulk in the first part of the movie, that's really funny. But so we've run pretty long. So I guess the biggest things that we need to be thinking about is like, have you seen Titans yet?
I have not. I don't have the DC streaming service.
I'll have to loan you mine, because that was amazing. I was blown away by that. I've seen pictures and they're all like, oh, Starfire looks like a prostitute. They explain all of that, and it is a much darker world. And the last episode, oh my, it was awesome.
I heard a lot about the ending with, not ending like per se, but I heard
It's
a lot about Batman.
It's the season finale, yeah, because
and I
Nightwing ends up going against Batman, and it is awesome. It is really, and the characters, everybody's playing out well. The only one I'm not really feeling yet is Beast Boy, because he only turns into a tiger. But even at that, if I could only turn into one thing, tiger might not be bad.
And Gotham, before we end, Gotham looks really good. It's coming up.
Yeah, I saw that. I've got it recording, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it build up a couple episodes, and then because I've watched Gotham on and off over the years. I've watched the whole season and then missed part of the season, but
it's like the show. The first season was good, but it improves like drastically every season. Unlike The Flash, where they have like good and off seasons, and The Gifted, for example, which this season's really good also.
Okay.
And then it's like, in my opinion, the Fox shows are better than the CW shows. I think it's better written, there's better CGI, and the stories are just better. In my opinion, that's what I think. But the Gotham, even though it's the final season and it's like 11 episodes, and they're cramming a whole lot into there, like Man-Bat, Bane. They have, I think, the Court of Owls also. They have
Well, they've dealt with the Court of Owls before, so
it might. I think it's a continuation of maybe the Court of Owls, and then one of the not the doll maker, but one of the doll people from Gotham Comics. I forgot.
Is it the girl or the guy?
It's a hospital, I think, of sorts.
So is it Doll Baby or
something like that?
Yeah.
But it's a whole bunch of stuff they're putting in. I'm worried they might be rushing it, but it's a lot of good material that they have.
Well, their Batman's getting older, so yeah. But even at that, I've been thinking that what's happening there is with them pushing the Batwoman thing, it might be they're bringing Gotham to an end so that it won't interfere with this new story arc that they're going to be putting out. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I think that's what you put in here. Dragon Ball. What's going on with Dragon Ball?
The Dragon Ball Super Broly movie comes out next Friday, and I'm not sure if you're a big Dragon Ball watcher, but that's going to be really good. It came out in Japan.
Is it live action or is it?
No, it's animated, but it's an animated movie, and Broly becomes canon now. They made like 3 movies back in the day, but those weren't canon. But I'm really looking forward to this movie. Even though the trailers released way too much, they released like a character and all this other stuff, which I'm not going to spoil on here. Don't go watch that trailer because it'll spoil it, but it looks really good.
Cool. All right, well, we appreciate it. If y'all got some comments, throw them down below. Always happy. If you got any questions, comics, nerd stuff, give us a holler. All right, see ya. I didn't even lose it that time.
Went right back to you.
Bad skills.